So Wednesday Season 2 is the follow-up to Wednesday Season 1, and in the events of Wednesday Season 2, we once again follow Wednesday Addams, who is once again portrayed by Jenna Ortega, as when it comes down to the plot, which, by the way, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, even though I know that probably plenty of you have seen Season 2, but still, I want to keep things non-spoiler on my end. When it comes down to Wednesday's character, not only in Season 2 is she struggling with her psychic abilities, but also she gains a stalker, not to mention as well, when it comes down to her parents, Morticia and Gomez Addams, there are things going on with them, and also there are things happening with her brother, Pugsley Addams. When it comes down to her roommate slash best friend Enid, there are things happening with her as well. Nevermore Academy gains a brand new principal portrayed by Stu Buscemi, and on top of all of that, there is a brand new mystery. Before I continue on with today's video, let's also start our conversation below as well. What did you all think of Wednesday Season 2? Did you like Season 2 more than the first season, or do you prefer Season 1 over Season 2? Let me know below. Alright everybody, let's get into Wednesday Season 2.
You're goddamn right.
I cannot believe that it has already been 3 years since Wednesday Season 1 came out. I mean, I cannot believe that 3 years just flew by just like that. Like, I remember it was just yesterday that I was binging Wednesday Season 1 because I was that much into it. I really dug Wednesday Season 1 a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, did I have my fair share of issues with that first season? Yes, but at the same time, when I looked at the overall bigger and grander picture of Wednesday Season 1, as an Addams Family fan, that show I thought just worked for me. It really did work in most regards, really. Wednesday Season 2 was without a doubt one of my most anticipated shows of this year. So as y'all can imagine, I was really excited to sit down and binge the entire show when it was actually out in September. Just a couple of days ago, Season 2 Part 2 did premiere and come to Netflix. And man, I am so happy to say that Wednesday Season 2 is not only an improvement in many ways, and I'm so happy to say this especially, Wednesday Season 2 is even better than that first season, which once again, I really dug Season 1. Wednesday Season 2 was a great season of television. Jenna Ortega, I absolutely loved her in this season, and just seeing her character arc. One of my favorite aspects when it came down to Wednesday's character in this season was the relationship that she has with Enid, played by Emma Myers, who, by the way, Enid's character, I absolutely love her character, and Emma Myers was just so much more adorable in this season. At least I thought she was. There were a couple of emotional cores, especially when it came down to the character relationships in Wednesday Season 2, and one of those emotional cores, if you'll ask me, is the relationship between Wednesday and Enid. I love their friendship so much, and especially when it came down to this one episode. I think it was either episode 6 or 7. I'm pretty sure it was one of those two episodes. Again, I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but man, this episode went into a direction that if I were to mention the thing that I'm thinking about right now, it would be a massive spoiler as to what goes on in this episode, but I'm just going to say this right now. As I was watching this episode, I just kept thinking, holy crap, so they're going in this direction. All right, we'll see where this goes. And this episode was just such a delight to watch. I was smiling, I was laughing, and by the end of it, I really thought that the character development and the character growth for not only Wednesday, but Enid was really, really well done here. Louise Guzman, and also, oh my god, Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia Addams. Holy crap. By the way, that brings me to something that I absolutely loved about the show, and that was that Season 2, I think, does a very smart thing, and that is including all the Addams family members, whether it comes down to Morticia or Gomez, Pugsley Addams, also have to mention Uncle Fester as well, who, by the way, that brings me on to that point really quick. I wasn't a particularly big fan of Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester in Season 1. Just to me, it didn't really feel like he fit the character to me, although I did end up warming up to him at a certain point. But man, here in Season 2, Fred Armisen is great. Like, he is great in Season 2, and I end up really falling in love with his portrayal of of Uncle Fester in the show. One of my favorite things about Wednesday season 2 is that they give characters, especially characters that were barely in season 1, more time and more things to do in season 2. In particular, the Addams family members, like for example, Morticia is given a lot more to do in this season, and Gomez is given a lot more to do. Where the story goes, I really hope we get to see more of them in season 3. I mean, I would be really sad if I don't, because I just grew to absolutely love them as Morticia and Gomez Addams. Even Pugsley, I grew to love even more in the show. Another particular element about this show, about the season that I loved, was Steve Buscemi as the principal of Nevermore Academy. Steve Buscemi is so darn good, even though I do have an issue with some things relating to the storytelling of the characters this time around, to which I'm going to get into later in my cons, but regardless, everybody, Steve Buscemi is just so entertaining. He's very charismatic, he's witty, and every time I saw him on that screen, I couldn't get enough of him. Like, seriously, Steve Buscemi is just that good. But really quick, and going back onto something that I love about this season, and that was that they gave the characters in season 1 that, we did get some time with, but in this season, in season 2, there were characters in this season that were introduced in the first season that we did get to not only have more time with, but there are characters in this season that are given significantly more to do, and as a result of it, there are more plot lines. But here's the thing, to that point, when you do add more plot lines in the season 2, and especially in a season 2 where they want to up the stakes, up the character drama, up the relationships, all the drama that's going on, period. When you do that certain thing, there is a danger that everything feels overstuffed, and in my personal opinion, it absolutely didn't feel overstuffed. Now, I will say, are there a couple of things that they could have probably, ironed out? Possibly, sure, but even then, there really wasn't a single thing in terms of relationship with characters that were given more things to do, and, the arcs of characters either coming into an end or character arcs that are starting. Nothing here in season 2 either felt overstuffed or felt too rushed. Everything actually felt just very natural in how the characters progressed. I mentioned that in my criticisms for season 1 that I felt that at times, or actually quite a few times in season 1, that it felt like it was just delving ever so closer to feeling like a CW show with Wednesday Addams in it. And that was something that I didn't particularly enjoy about season 1, because there was a lot of times where either things were starting to get into more CW territory, or, I had to say it, a bit more filler territory. There was not a single point where either of those two things were either going to happen, or at least it felt like to me, or it ever felt like it was about to teeter towards that territory. Every single episode had something going on that, like I mentioned to you all earlier, that just felt integral to the plot, and nothing felt like it was wasting of time. Nothing felt like it dragged the season down in terms of pacing. Everything felt either integral, just very important to the story that they were telling. Another thing in particular that I gotta talk about, and this is something that I love about season 1, and that is the overall look and the directing, and not to mention as well the writing of season 2. Tim Burton is one of the executive producers of the show, and he did direct a couple of the episodes of season 2, and I gotta tell you all, Wednesday season 2 not only retains that Tim Burton feel with his art style, with his directing and his sensibilities, but not to mention it as well, I really love that in this season, and this is something I love about season 1, even if Tim Burton did not direct an episode, you could still feel his touch, his style, his sensibilities, the macabre feel that Tim Burton brings to all of his projects. Wednesday season 2 feels more Tim Burton than Wednesday season 1 did. Not only does Wednesday season 2 look even better than the first season, but something else I gotta talk about is the monster design even more this time around. I mean, I don't know what it was, but I feel like that they actually spent more time on making the monsters look better this time around, because man, there were a couple of times in season 1 where I was just going like, that looks rough, or that doesn't look quite scary. The hides in the show legitimately did look better this time around. There were a couple of times where I saw close-ups of monsters, and they looked great. The makeup, the practical effects, the costume design, everything. I mean, oh my god. The overall look of the show was fantastic. Freaking love the music of Wednesday. I mean, just hearing... First of all, I gotta say, hearing Danny Elfman's theme for the show is so damn good. And something else that brings me on to this next point, guys. The intro of the show is so damn cool. That brings me on to this next thing, and don't worry guys, no spoilers, but that brings me on to the ending of season 2. What season 2 does in setting up and preparing for season 3 and knowing what season 2 is doing and setting up the events to come, I am so damn excited. Bring on season 3 ASAP. I am ready, guys. I am ready.
Oh, no.
While Wednesday season 2 is most definitely an improvement, and I did like season 2 over season 1, at the same time, there are still a couple of things I feel like that hold the season back from being even greater. There are a couple of twists in the show, and once again, no spoilers, do not worry everybody, there's not going to be any spoilers. There are a couple of twists in season 2 that either A, I saw coming from literally a mile, and I mean miles away, or there's one twist in particular that I just found to be, I wouldn't say stupid, but just random. It didn't feel like that there was anything building up to this particular moment, if you guys get what I'm saying. There is one twist in particular that literally, guys, I called from episode 1. This just might be a me thing, but it was just a thing that I noticed quite often, and it was something that I found very, very distracting. There were quite a few close-ups that I noticed, and again, this just might be a me thing and me just picking apart details, and I might just be picking details just because, but it was just something that I noticed. There were quite a few close-ups, and I just noticed that there was quite a bit of digital airbrushing going on to the point where, which I could tell that they were trying to make things look cleaner. It just distracted me from what otherwise was a really good close-up on a lot of actors. There were just a couple of things that happened, smaller things in episodes, that I was just surprised that there weren't consequences or actions that were happened when these certain things happened.
What's it gonna be, Doc?
So overall, Wednesday season 2 is not only an improvement over the first season, but Wednesday season 2 is just simply put a great season of television. And how season 2 ends, I am very excited and I cannot wait for season 3. All in all, I'm going to give Wednesday season 2 a 4 out of 5. Wednesday season 2 is a great season of television, and best of all, it is a great introduction for spooky season this year. I hope y'all enjoyed my review of Wednesday season 2. If so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If y'all want to see it in my previous 2 videos, please click it right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.